Accessory Adoption. Thanks for watching this video and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. Thank you for clicking play. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back to watch another video. Today's video, I actually wasn't planning on scheduling to do one today, but I got inspired, was already dressed because I did a podcast interview with Sustainable Brown Girl. So I will throw that information down below. Check it out if you're into sustainability of any sort. There's a sustainability covers a big spectrum of topics and categories. So definitely check out that podcast. I love promoting other female business owners, and Ariel is very nice, and we had a great interview. So on with the story. So today's video, as you can see from the title, we'll be talking about a few tips that I'm going to give you if you're trying to figure out when you should buy something new versus pre-loved. I think I'm just going to break this out into two topics and first focus on pre-owned and then do a separate video where I talk about when you should buy items new. And just for reference, if I look over to the side here, it's because I have my notes because I want to stay on topic. So we'll go ahead and get started with when you should buy items pre-owned versus new. So first up is going to be, one of the easiest categories is when an item is rare, it's discontinued, something that you actually just cannot find brand new. That is absolutely when you are going to have to go the pre-owned route. And why is that? If it's rare, you know, when will you ever find it? But I'm talking about when I say rare, that could be basically mean, let's say there's an item that was not sold in the United States, or that color was not sold in the United States, or something like that, or in another country. If you're in Europe, thank you for watching, definitely. But if you're in Europe and there's an item that was only available to people within the United States, wherever it is relative to where you are, if it's not accessible to you, readily accessible to you, that is when you may have to go the pre-owned route to buy it. Also, when I was talking about rare, also with that is discontinued. A lot of times, for example, LV, for example, Marc Jacobs, those two, for example, where they pretty much, as styles change, or you know, just the desire of the fashion house, whether they want to continue with that same item, maybe it didn't sell well, maybe there were issues with it, or what have you, they just decide to switch up their tactics and no longer offer that item or no longer offer it in that color, then you have to go the pre-owned route. I'm sorry, my husband just yelled out. I told him I was going to record. 1 second. All right, so we're back to recording. Sorry, I thought I heard him yell my name. I was like, I'm recording right now. Didn't I tell you that? But anyway, people out there who have husbands and children and you record, or what, even if you don't do YouTube and you do something else, you know what I mean when you tell people don't bother you, they do. And I'm guilty, I do it to him too. So anyway, on to my thoughts. I was saying, oh yes, about LV or like Marc Jacobs, for example. I remember the Stam bag that came out in the early 2000s, and that bag probably retailed for a little bit under $1,000. Back then, handbags were not as astronomically priced as they are now, so it was probably around the $9.95, $8.95 range. And that bag was amazing, made in Italy. Well, it was extremely popular as well, but you know, fast forward several years, over a decade, that bag is no longer available. So you have to go the pre-owned route to get it, and the quality of those bags back then were amazing too. So that's just an example of when something is discontinued. I actually have a vintage bag that LV no longer makes anymore, and it's in the monogram. It's a dragon pouch, and that's no longer being made. So I had to go the pre-owned route. So that's another example of when you have to go that route, because you can't walk into your local store and go purchase it. So I think that should cover all of my examples that I can give you at the moment of when, as far as the category of new, discontinued, and when you have to go pre-owned versus purchasing new, because you don't have that option. All right, next tip will be when an item never goes on sale. So this is going to bring you back up to kind of your big fashion houses. A lot of them, a decent chunk of them, do not mark their items on sale, or their classic pieces never go on sale. So for example, another brand, so I'm just not continuously repeating the same brands in my examples, is Mulberry. So Mulberry has a classic Bayswater. That is their staple. They make it every year. They do also add additional colors to it. Well, a lot of times, and actually Mulberry is having a sale right now. Depending on when this video goes out, that sale might be over with. But anyway, this is May 2021. So they are having a sale right now online. Just for reference, so you know when I'm talking about. So anyway, moving on from that. So their Bayswater, like I said, is a classic staple. So they're usually their classic colors, so their browns, their black, those will not go on sale. But the other colors of the season will go on sale. And so that is another example where if you want a black Mulberry Bayswater and you want it, you don't want to pay the full retail price from the Mulberry store for it, then you do have to go the pre-owned route to get it at a discounted price because it's likely not going to go on sale. That's also the same for other fashion houses. Usually items that are classics, they roll those out every year, will not go on sale. Fendi's another example of the peekaboo. They likely don't put their, I haven't watched Fendi as closely, but I'm just going to throw it out there and bet that their classic peekaboo in the blacks probably, I mean, your browns are also your classic colors too, but I can definitely say with like black is definitely a high on the list where they likely are not putting that on sale, and you're going to have to buy that pre-owned. Now, next up is going to be the pre-owned. Another reason you should purchase pre-owned versus new is when the pre-owned version has better quality. So a lot of times, even if you look at Purse blog or Purse forum and chat, Reddit, or wherever, or even YouTube videos, people will talk about the differences in quality of these designer fashion, with these designer fashion houses, with handbags and shoes or what have you, as the years change. And things change, materials change, and sometimes some things are better quality or hold up better than others. And usually the fashion house sometimes is working that out, especially when they have like a classic staple that they're producing every year. So that is another example when you would rather purchase pre-owned versus new. So one of those examples I can give you is of your, I was about to say Louis Vuitton, but the Chanel classic flap. That's a staple one that has been around for decades, and you will, if you just start searching it and talk about condition and things like that, you will absolutely come up on an article or blog post or a chat room where someone is talking about the Chanel and its quality. And I know a lot of people actually do prefer to purchase pre-owned vintage Chanel items for that reason, because back then they say like a lot of times the quality was better. Maybe the lining hadn't changed to the fabric lining that they use now, and they were using leather lining back then for a certain handbag style. Also, kind of how well the leather holds up. Sometimes you'll see with vintage items are a lot better. Other things that is well known with those Chanel lovers is after the year 2008, their hardware was no longer dipped in gold. And I believe it was dipped in, I won't quote it because I can't remember right now, but I think it was 24, but I don't remember exactly right now. And I know I've said it in another video, but I can't remember the number for whatever reason right now. So it was dipped, the hardware was dipped in gold, and that no longer happens anymore. So if you still want those pieces, then you would have to go the pre-owned route because they no longer produce it in that way anymore. So that's another example. On to tip number, we are on tip number 4, and that's going to be the retail price is more than you can or you're willing to spend, and that's when you have to go the pre-owned route. So like I mentioned, every year, those classic staples from a lot of fashion houses, when they produce those usually what you'll see is go up in price. So like I gave the example, the Mulberry Bayswater, just trying to think out loud of another example. So that could be your Dior lady, I was about to say lady taupe, but oh gosh, for whatever reason it's escaping me now, and I promise you if this video was not on, I would be able to spit it out to you. But the classic Dior that Princess Diana carried. That handbag. That one is a staple. They still produce it. However, the price of it back in the 80s versus the price of it now is extremely different. And for whatever reason, whether you can or you're just not willing to, maybe you don't want to spend $4,000 on that handbag, and so you're going to have to go the pre-owned route to either find a vintage item or something that's fairly recent that is in used condition that you want to purchase from the pre-owned market. So that way you're not spending $3,000, but maybe you're spending $2,000 or $1,000 or what have you, but you're kind of instantly saving by going the pre-owned route for that. And so that's another reason why you would want to purchase pre-owned versus new. Next tip is going to be if the hardware or the color is no longer in production. So that's another thing to think about too, and you might have to go pre-owned. I know a lot of people who will purchase Hermes, one, because they just don't want to have to do the quota, but another reason is because there's a specific set of criteria. There's a specific leather they want. There's a specific type of hardware they want, and that doesn't always come out every year and in those combinations that they're looking for. So with Hermes, like I gave that example, where some people will go the pre-owned route or through a reseller to purchase that exact combination of materials between the color and the hardware to get the Hermes bag that they want. And so that's a good example. Another example is Chanel, and I'm trying not to keep repeating the same designers, so that's why I'm slightly struggling here, because it's not like they aren't out there in those examples, but I'm trying to call them out really quick, and sometimes I'm like, hold on, I already used that example, so let me try another designer. So sorry about that. But anyway, I'm just trying not to be redundant and keep repeating the same designers video after video after video. So that's just me trying to give a variety. So I'm just going to jump on to the next tip, and that's going to be nostalgia. So like I mentioned when I gave the example of the Marc Jacobs stand bag, I have a Marc Jacobs multi-pocket hobo in the large size. Sorry, I saw kids running down the street. In the large size, and you can no longer get that one. And actually when I look at that handbag, when I think about that handbag, I think about Devil Wears Prada in this powder blue color, where Andy got that bag from Miranda and gave it to her friend because Miranda did not want it. And that's an example of kind of like, it just brings you back to this place or this thought from in the past. So it could be even the same thing with like maybe your grandmother used to always carry around or your mom used to always carry around a Dooney and Bourke all-weather leather vintage handbag. And so when you see that, it gives you fond memories. You think about your grandmother or your mother or whatever the situation is, and it becomes a sentimental piece, but also something functional that you can use. And so that's another example of when you want to purchase pre-owned versus new, because you are trying to kind of like replicate that feel and something of that era. Or it could be a vintage beaded clutch that was passed down through the years or something like that, where usually you want to go that route of getting that vintage item. It might not be the same exact one, obviously, right? Because you're having to purchase it, but at least you're not seeing the newest version of kind of what the old version was. You're getting the old version and the originals of what used to be there, if that makes sense. So that's another reason why you would want to purchase pre-owned versus new. And my last tip is going to be purchasing pre-owned versus new is maybe when an item is extremely popular. This does not mean you will not pay a premium for this. Hence the example that I gave about Hermes. That's another one where if you buy it on the secondhand market, you're paying up for that item than it would cost brand new, because they can do that. It's highly desirable. Another stage of example of this is when it's extremely popular, like I said. And I wanted to call that out because some of the examples I gave, I did mention that you can save money. In this example, you may not be able to. So, for example, if a lot of designers are releasing these classic collections, and like, for example, Coach, let's use them as an example, and they are partnering with a lot of designers over the past several years. And one of them is the Basquiat, hopefully I'm saying the name of the artist correctly, that collection was extremely popular, and I think all of the pieces to date now, I think, are no longer available on the website. So for those Coach enthusiasts, for those Basquiat enthusiasts, they went up there, you know, went to Coach and swallowed them up, you know, just bought them all. And that's another example of when it's extremely popular and you're going to have to go the secondhand route to get it. Doesn't mean that it's used. Some people are buying it and then upselling it. It could be very well in brand new condition. It also could mean that maybe the person bought it, they changed their mind and they don't want it anymore, and maybe they're selling it at cost or a little bit less than cost because they're just, you know, being reasonable or what have you for whatever reason. Extremely popular and they can no longer get it. Another example of that is the Coach Rogues. Like, I follow the Coach Rogue group because I am actually interested in purchasing one. And it's amazing to see the number of women who are extremely passionate and dedicated to Coach Rogues because of their quality and because of the uniqueness of them. So it's amazing just to see Coach in that way and in that light and through their eyes. And that's another example when it's extremely popular. Like, for example, there's Rogues that have come out over years and they don't make those colors anymore in those combinations or anything like that. So you have to buy them pre-owned. So those are two examples of when something's extremely popular. Go away, Nat. When something's extremely popular and you have to go the pre-owned route versus purchasing brand new. So let me know if any of these were any new examples for you or anything that you hadn't thought about before. I would love to get your examples and as well as get some comments back from you and feedback. Actually, and also if you're at the end of this video, I would like to say thank you so much for watching until the end. Definitely, please give me a thumbs up. Also, leave me a little emoji down below, that the little purse shopping emoji. Leave that down below if you made it to this point of the video. I would love to see how many people are making it to the end. Definitely like, share, and subscribe. I typically load videos every Wednesday covering topics related to fashion, luxury, contemporary brands, more so focused on the pre-owned market. But I also do throw in unboxing reviews as well as lifestyle videos as well. So I encourage you to subscribe so you get a notification when I release a new video, and keep coming back and checking out the videos. And I hope that this information is helping you, informative and entertaining. Sorry, my mouth is a little dry now, so I can't get all the words out. So thank you so much for watching. Have a good day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.